Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Invin. Today I am going to be bringing you guys a video on the Krig 6 in Warzone. Now a lot of people have been sleeping on this weapon because it's not as up there as some of the other ones in terms of time to kill. However, this gun has got the deadly precision, which actually in turn makes its time to kill for a lot of players very, very quick. Now if you haven't used the Krig 6 so far in Season 4, obviously we had some changes to the barrels which have made this a little bit different from what we usually built. So I'm going to go over the full class setup for you guys as well as some tips and tricks on how to make this gun perform as well as it possibly can. Now, like I mentioned at the start there is some things where the TTK isn't as high as some of the other guns, such as the Farah. However, when you do build this Krig 6 class right, the recoil on this is going to be very, very, very minimal, meaning that you're actually going to be able to laser beam people very accurately. Now, that's going to give a big advantage to a lot of players across the board, because if you're at a lower end of the skill level in terms of KD and accuracy, then you're going to be able to hit a lot more shots because it's easier to control, meaning overall your TTK is going to be pretty quick. If you're on that medium gun skill level where you can control a good recoil and you've got quite a bit of game sense, it's going to be perfect for you because you're going to be able to laser people left, right and center. The recoil is very, very easy to control and you're going to be able to get a ton of damage off, ton of downs and ultimately a ton of kills per game. And if you're up that upper end of the level where you're wanting something a little bit more different to what the current meta is, I know the open meta is kind of proving pretty much you can use anything, but right now the Krig 6 is excellent, and if you are at that top end where you're going to be hitting 90-95% of your shots and downing people very, very quickly with good game sense, good awareness, then the Krig 6 is going to be absolutely ridiculous for you guys. You're going to be able to laser people all over the shop, so this is definitely something you're not going to want to miss out on. If you are new to the channel, make sure you do hit the subscribe button down below. We're pushing for 2k subs, so it'd be great to have you here as part of the channel community. And if you do go on to enjoy this video and find it useful, make sure you drop a like down below as well, as that'd be much, much appreciated. So let's jump into the video here. So like I mentioned to you guys in the intro there, the Krig 6 has been slept on a little bit, and this is because overall the TTK at the longest possible range is slightly lower than some of the other options like the RPD, the Farah, but the overall TTK and accuracy of this gun is still excellent, and the accuracy is what bumps it up there. It's also got a decently moderate rate of fire, which in some situations you want a fast fire rate gun, okay, like the Milano is fairly slow. Again, this has got its own perks, which is what it's paired with here. But things like the Mac 10 are going to be super good up close because of its hugely fast rate of fire and movement speed. But the Krig for the medium to long ranges is going to be excellent because it's giving you more time to make sure you're hitting more bullets consecutively, and overall that's going to reduce your TTK. So like I said there at the beginning as well, comparatively, if you're hitting every shot every time, some of the TTKs can be higher, but one of the most important considerations to look at when you are actually taking into account the time to kill is going to be the accuracy of the weapon and how many shots you can actually hit accurately, because it doesn't matter if the weapon has a really, really good TTK like the AMAX for example, if you can't control the recoil, because the recoil on some of these weapons is a lot higher. I made a class previously on the Farah just a couple of days ago, as this is a really, really good AR for Season 4, but the Krig is going to be an absolutely solid choice, and honestly right now is my go-to choice in Season 4, so says quite a bit. I play a lot of games and this is probably my favourite weapon. It feels the nicest to use. So here's the class on screen for you guys now. You can see some of it, just my camera's blocking a little bit of the camo there, which is a shame because it's a very nice camo, but not blocking any attachments, so we should be good there. Now you're going to want the agency suppressor on. Again, it gives extra bullet velocity and extra effective damage range than the regular suppressor, and the regular suppressor is more for up close, snappy. This is going to be for longer range engagements, so this is going to be perfect to give us that extra bit of range and bullet velocity, which is perfect. The CMV mil-spec barrel, again, this gives us bullet velocity, the most you can possibly get from a barrel, along with recoil control both vertical and horizontal, and then on top of that, obviously, as well, it gives us a bit more effective damage range, essentially making this thing be able to beam at a longer range and have a much larger damage fall-off between the two attachments, which is perfect for those mid to long range engagements. You're then going to pair this with an Axle 3 times. Now, again, you can change this out to whichever your preferred sight is, but I do think the Axle 3 times is kind of the cleanest, most visually pleasing sight. You can go ahead and use maybe the Royal and Cross 4 times if you'd like to, or even the Susat multi-zoom if you prefer having the 2 to 4 times option. Entirely up to you, but I would recommend the Axle Arms 3 times for anyone that's not used a scope too much from the Cold War weapons before, as it's probably the cleanest and nicest looking one in the game. Okay, so we're moving on to the underbarrel here. We've got the Field Agent Grip, again just for that horizontal and vertical recoil, keeps the gun ridiculously steady, and then pairing that finally then there with the Stanag 60 round mag, which obviously gives us the most ammo capacity, does reduce the ADS time slightly, but it's going to be the least ADS reduction from all of the mags with giving you the most amount of ammo, so it's worth the trade-off there. Now, this weapon is really, really good. It's got a decent bullet velocity, it's got a decent time to kill, like I said there, and it is going to be able to be something that gets you a lot of kills, and hopefully a lot of wins in return when you do get those kills throughout the entire of Warzone. It is going to be competing with most other weapons. It's one of the most competitive weapons in the game right now. It's in the top 10, I would say, for all competitiveness across all classes, which is pretty good because we've got some broken stuff at the moment, or not broken stuff, but some extremely good stuff at the moment, but there's quite a lot of things that are quite good, so it's kind of nice. Basically, this gun is going to be up there in those top tier weapons. It's going to compete with every other weapon that you come across in Warzone, and you are going to be able to slay out with it very, very easily. So I'm just going to run through a few tips with the Krig 6 for you guys so that you can make the most out of this weapon in Warzone. Mounting up with this gun is going to make it literally pinpoint accurate, but without mounting with this weapon, it is still very, very good. It's got a very minimal bullet drop off with this build because the bullet velocity is quite high. It's essentially hit scan. Essentially, that means you can shoot exactly where you see the enemy, and you're going to be hitting shots, which is really, really nice. Obviously, not accounting for things like desync, crossplay desync, all that good stuff, which is obviously in the game by default. But generally, if you shoot where the enemy is, you're going to be hitting those shots because it's essentially hit scan with this gun. It's also got a ton of range, so you're going to be able to hit people and down people at up to maybe 200 meters very, very easily, provided you can actually see them. It works really, really well on the brand new Verdansk Resurgence mode, as well as on Rebirth, but obviously shines through the most in Verdansk, where you've got these big open areas where you are able to beam at people, and does very, very well in the first few zones as well as the last few zones because it's going to be multifunctional. Like I say there, because it's got 3 times on, it does mean that you can use it at both medium and long range. Pairing it with something like the Milano, the MAC-10, the LC-10, you're going to be on a really, really good system whereby you can actually pick up a lot of the short range kills with those quick fire, quick movement SMGs, and then a lot of the mid to long range kills where you can post up and be a bit more steady with the Krig 6. It's going to be one of those brilliant sentinel type role guns where you're able to sit back and pick at people very, very easily. If you are playing in a duo, trio, or a quads where somebody else is sniping, if they manage to hit them once, you're going to be able to down players in 4 or 5 bullets, and the gun shoots very quickly, so you are going to be able to get it down very, very easily with team combos and things like that as well. So it works nicely in a team synergy situation, which is brilliant because a lot of these guns are good for solo, not so good for multiplayer. Basically, if you're in a squad or you're in solos, this gun is going to be excellent, so it's a fantastic addition to your roster. On top of that, you're going to be able to use it for a ton of things because it's got a decent amount of mobility, so you are going to be able to move around slightly whilst using this, which is better than a lot of the other ARs currently at the meta at the moment because they're a lot more static when you are using them. So this gives the Krig a little bit of an advantage on that front as well, and obviously does move fairly well across the map, but you are going to want something like a MAC-10 or a Milano where you've got a very, very fast movement speed to get you from one place to the other, because I wouldn't really recommend running with this weapon out. It's not the fastest in the world. It's decent, but it's not great. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you have, make sure you do drop a like on it down below, as it'd be much, much appreciated. If you are new to the channel, make sure you do drop a subscribe down below as well. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching. Take care and peace.